Hello everyone, myself Vaibhav. In today's session, we are seeing that the Euro USD is again starting to rise after consolidating closer to the 1.18 levels. And I think looking at this consolidation phase, we can indeed look for even scalping opportunities in today's session itself. And I'm not really expecting big moves to happen. And today being the Friday, I'm not really in favor of going for the big swing trades either. That should be saved for Monday. So today we will be looking at these scalping opportunities if the opportunities do arise for us to take advantage of. So today's session of market movers is dedicated to these Euro USD's support levels around 1.18, and we will also be looking at the equity index of United States, the tech dominated Nasdaq. So if we consider the trading context for the day, earlier in the day we got the employment numbers for the euro area, and here the quarter on quarter growth is there in terms of slight improvement, and we have now the growth of 0.9% for the quarter ended September. But if we compare the same quarter's number to the September quarter of 2019, then there is decline, and that is pretty much obvious because of this ongoing pandemic and resultant restrictions on the economic activity. And we are far away from the normalcy. Of course, this week we have some positive signs coming in from the US pharma giant Pfizer, but still, these are early days, and I think at least bare minimum speaking, we will have to wait for a couple of months, if not more. Later in the day, we are also scheduled to get the US Michigan Consumer Survey data, and here this survey data actually gives you multiple releases. We have the consumer sentiment index, then the inflation expectations, and also the current sentiments, current conditions data also. And for this month, we are not really expecting any big changes compared to the prior month, and for consumer sentiments, the reading is likely to remain around 82, not much of a change if we compare it to the prior month's reading. And the current conditions are also likely to remain closer to the last month's reading, as there has not been any substantial improvement or deterioration in the economic outlook for the United States. So, more or less, the things stand as they were in the September. Now let's turn our attention to the technical outlook. Here we will first cover the Euro USD, and then we will move on to the Nasdaq. Let's start with the Euro USD technical outlook first. This is the daily time frame chart, and here the formation is of the consolidation phase where the Euro USD's underlying momentum has been on the bullish side, but given the substantial rise already having taken place, it is becoming difficult for the Euro USD to rally on the higher side. But at the same time, there are not many reasons for the market participants to short it, and as a result of that, it has been oscillating around this 1.18 1.19 region for almost 3 to 4 months now. And even in the early part of this month, we saw the sharp recovery after getting closer to this prior swing low, and now we are here in the middle of the month and also in the middle of the range where we are looking at the Euro USD's consolidation phase after finding this good buying momentum closer to the 1.175, and overnight it has consolidated closer to the 1.18 region, and for the day that can be the level which is going to act as the near term support, and that is the price zone which we will be targeting for today's session. So moving on to the lower time frame chart, on the 4 hourly time frame we have this central pivot point running fairly close to this 1.172 region, and then on top of it we have this first resistance which is closer to our area of interest, the 1.180. So here we have this fresh break above this resistance level, and moving forward I am expecting these levels to provide support for the Euro USD, as is the case most of the times where the resistance which is now broken is likely to act as the near term support, and that's what we are expecting here. And also looking at the extended consolidation, the thing should hold well. That is my anticipation, but the anticipation can always go wrong, and for that we will also be considering the stop losses. If we look at the regression curve is now starting to flatten, and that is pretty much expected given this extended consolidation phase, and then not much of an big move on the one side. It has a fairly large range, but it is kind of predefined around 1.16 starting on the lower side, and on the higher side we have the price zone around 1.19 to 1.195, and as a result of that this curve has flattened to great extent. So moving on to the hourly chart to see if there are opportunities for us. I think in today's session we can continue to look for buying opportunities as long as the Euro USD is holding well above 1.180, and on the lower side the stop loss can be anywhere close to this immediate swing low around 1.177 to 1.176. So that's the risk of around 30-40 pips, and for the risk we are taking, we will be in position to target the levels above this immediate swing high, and even today's day high was fairly close to these prior swing highs. And if in due course of time, if we get the break on the higher side, then I am expecting the Euro USD to rally even towards this prior swing high, which is there around 1.191. But for today's session, I am not really expecting that big move. So instead of that, we can look for scalping opportunities here, and for that, as I said, the buying should be as close to the 1.180 region as possible, and we can then hope on for the retest of this immediate swing high around 1.184. So the risk reward ratio is not really going to be that great, but this is the scalping opportunity, and the probability looks convincing to me. Of course, we can be wrong, and for that purpose, the stop loss will also be need to be kept closer to the prior swing low. Now moving on to the equity segment, here we will cover the Nasdaq's technical outlook. This is the daily time frame chart, and the charts for Nasdaq and the Euro USD increasingly looks alike, though these are traded instrument in different segments of the market. The Nasdaq is the equity index measure for the United States, which has also been consolidating closer to these 12,000 levels for a while now, and this time around we saw this sharp deceleration after the announcement from Pfizer about the vaccine, and that was kind of anticipated given the huge role the tech sector has been playing in keeping the people working even from their home. And if the restrictions are relaxed, and if we see that vaccine is working, vaccine is effective, then that tech domination is likely to go away. Not totally, but still to some extent, and as a result of that, some selling pressure was observed, whereas other major equity indices, including Dow Jones and the S&P 500, rallied higher. But there are not many big reasons to sell the tech shares as well, and as a result of that, we can more or less expect the consolidation phase in the Nasdaq, and no one-sided big move is likely. Now coming to the 4 hourly chart, we have this strong resistance which is holding back the Nasdaq around 12,000 level. Even in yesterday's session, we saw this selling pressure coming back and pushing the Nasdaq lower after getting close to the 12,000. But as I remember, we had talked about the possibility of going in for the long trade closer to the 11,800 levels, and if any of you had gone in for that trade, I think you might be sitting on good amount of profit in today's session. And as things stand, the outlook is still bullish, and I am expecting the continuation of this upward trajectory where the Nasdaq might even try to retest the 12,000 levels in today's US session. and the regression curve is also is tilted to the upside. So on both this front, the pivot point series as well as the regression curve, we have the factors in favor of the continuation of the bullish trend. So if we want to figure out the entry and exit points, I think we will have to rely on these SMA formation. We have this confluence of 50, 100 and 200 SMAs taking place near around 11,800, and moving forward, as long as this support is there, as long as the price doesn't really break below this crucial SMA confluence area, we can be duly confident about the continuation of this upward momentum. And if we indeed go for the long trade anywhere closer to this prior swing high, sorry, swing lows, immediate swing lows around and above the 11,800 level, I think even in today's session we can be hopeful of making some money. But right now the price is trading above 11,900, and that increases our risk if we want to go for the fresh positioning now. So that is one factor which we will have to keep in mind. And I can't be sure if the correction is going to happen. So if it does happen, then well and good, it might give us new opportunities after a couple of hours of consolidation. And if it doesn't, then the people who might have taken the yesterday's trade, they will continue to profit, and they can still hold on to the position in Nasdaq, and we can expect the Nasdaq to rally even higher than the 12,000, closer to this, not immediately, but after some times, maybe gradually, we can even expect the Nasdaq to get or try to get closer to this immediate swing high, which is there around 12,400. So that's it from my side for today's session. And before I sign off, I would also like to remind of the risk associated with trading in the financial instrument, and one should be careful while using the information provided. Today being Friday, I wish a very fabulous weekend ahead. See you on Monday. Goodbye.